We have all your Monday updates from Berea. Kevin Stefanski spoke, updates on injuries, the quarterback status quo with where things are with Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, as the Browns are probably relaxing watching their upcoming opponent this weekend, the Las Vegas Raiders, here on Monday Night Football. So we have a bunch of things, little nuggets to hit on there. And then we will obviously tie in some of our thoughts to, tape review as we have done, and other pieces of information like that. So it's a busy Monday podcast with some forecasting for the week ahead tied to it. So plenty to banter on. Let's get going with the latest Browns Film Breakdown podcast right now, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook and Monfredi Dental. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It is a Tuesday podcast for you guys on November 18th. Recording this Monday night during Monday Night Football. It's been a pretty ugly game for the Raiders. It's going to be a slop fest next weekend. We'll see whose offense, the protection for Geno Smith, and Geno's not playing well, but the Browns defensive line has to be salivating at the opportunity to get after Geno Smith coming off of those performances. There's some stuff up on how well Mason Graham played. I know Brad's opening drive for you guys kind of ties into Miles' performance, who's at the peak of his powers, obviously, but that collective D-line, pretty good football across the board and making life difficult on opposing quarterbacks. Now, can they take that on the road is something we'll discuss later this week. They're due for a better road defense performance. There's no doubt about that. But, for the sake of what we're seeing them struggle with on that side, the Raiders, it is going to be a very interesting game between the two win teams that are jockeying for, draft position to get the guy you ultimately want. So we'll get to that later in the week. For now, it's updates from Berea. I know that the Browns today, Brad, recognize that they're still not opening that 21-day practice window for Deshaun Watson. I still find it hard to believe they will this year, given that injury. But we had somebody ask this question because there was someone across the league who was right up against the deadline. I can't remember who. I think it was maybe someone for the Colts. Like, it's not important, but if you don't get activated inside the 21 days, you do go to IR for the rest of the year. So I know we had a question about how that window works, and I know you had some information on it.
Yeah, so the NFL's 21-day injury window is applied to all players that are on the IR, the PUP list, or the NFI list when they start the season. So when you start the season on or placed at any time placed on those lists, you must miss at least 4 games, right? So after that 4 games you've been missed, you're eligible to return. It's up to the team and the player to determine when they can return. And basically that process begins with the opening of a 21-day window. Now, here's why you have to be strategic about it. The Browns last year, for example, opened the 21-day practice window on Nyheim Hines, and he practiced with the team. During the 21-day window, you do not count against the 53-man roster, and you can practice in full. So you are out there every day participating, but you do not count against the 53. Nyheim Hines went through the 21 days, and the team was like, we're not activating you this year. So that's it. So if you get, so you have to be careful when you pick this window, because if you pick it too early and you're not ready to be activated at the end of the 21 days, you go back to the PUP list or the IR or whatever, and you're out for the rest of the season. You get one shot.
Yeah, which is maybe why, if you think back to the Browns and Mike Hall, they didn't want to dance with that. You know what I mean? So that's just something interesting to consider. Even though they could have waited a few weeks and then ultimately tried after a few weeks to give him 21 days. I get that they could have tried to do that, but it did feel like they had no clue when he was going to actually play.
Correct.
As we saw. So the idea would be, and if someone, I think a lot of people have asked that question fairly, I would also assess, they're like, why did they not put him on IR to start the year? It just felt like a real gray area was going on between how ready he felt, how ready he thought the team thought he was, and they didn't maybe want to play around with that and just decided to put him on the active roster and go from there. So that does provide a little bit of an insight into Hall's situation, while also giving us all an understanding of why you do flirt with some disaster if you do activate someone's practice window and then they can't go. So good insights.
Yeah, if you can't get them on the 53 by the end of that 21 days, that's it. They're out for the season. So that's kind of how it breaks down. They remain the same for the IR pup and NFI for the rest of the season. So they go back. So see Naheem Hines last year is a great example.
It is a great example. Dom Jones, speaking of IR situations, our boy suffered that. I think it was on special teams that he had that knee injury. Kevin Stefanski called it significant today, which will put him on the IR, which is a bummer.
Great.
Especially for those guys who are, Dom's a UDFA trying to find a place in the league, carve a spot, and anytime you get your first season cut short, like it's just, it's not for long for a reason, and you always get like. Do you get washed out? You know what I mean? You lose the chance. Maybe the Browns bring him back. I hope they do. I think he's got some talent and he's worth investing in. So hopefully the things work out. So all the best to Dom. And then other injury updates we saw is that Jack Conklin and Cam Robinson. So both of the tackles, KT Leviston was so bad. So bad in this game. Just his worst performance of the season. And it's maybe he wasn't ready to go. He was so shell-shocked getting put in the game. And I know that Tevin Jenkins finished the game at the other tackle position. We'll see if they're going to do any roster movement manipulation to, give themselves some tackle depth. If Conklin I feel like, again, this is every other week. We almost have to do that calendar or the countdown where it says weeks since a Jack Conklin injury, and it's back to 0 starting today.
Like warehouse injury boards.
Yeah, that's right. So Conklin's day-to-day, Robinson's day-to-day. Obviously, no matter which rookie plays this weekend, which we'll talk about in a minute, it's not great to be missing both your tackles. And unfortunately, the Raiders have a guy named Max Crosby who is just a tier below Myles Garrett and really, really good.
Yeah, so Cam Robinson was supposed to go get an MRI, according to Kev, right?
Mm-hmm.
Conklin, he called them both day to day though, so I don't know.
But keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. And then I guess my question to you is: Tevin Jenkins any better?
Don't have a perfect answer on that yet. My film delivery was a little slow. I haven't gotten to the very end of some of those snaps, but I will touch on that tomorrow for sure.
Okay.
In the film, we're not going to do an all 22 comprehensive because I just want my talking about it, I think, is not as valuable as going and watching it. So that will be up in the morning. Like I said, film was way later than it normally is, so I didn't get to post it on Monday afternoon, evening like I prefer, but that will be up tomorrow morning for you guys. So if you want to know how Shedeur played, what that looked like specifically, some of Dylan's first half or how, like you said, Brad, Tevin played, we can dig into those details tomorrow for sure. So keep your eye out for that. But yeah, I mean, Tevin stepping in, playing some tackle seems encouraging. I didn't see him with any issues at right tackle in real time. Most of the issues were left tackle based, but that's just, again, first watch. And sometimes the football gets out before your issue allows it to come through. So to the quarterback stuff though, Dylan Gabriel is still in concussion protocol. Stefanski said, he'll provide an update on Wednesday as it pertains to how the team is handling preparations for the Raiders. The vibe that seemed to be coming out of Berea is that Shedeur is slated to start this weekend. We'll see. It's obviously too early. He said Gabriel was feeling concussion symptoms at halftime, which prompted the check. He wouldn't say if Gabriel's still exhibiting symptoms right now. But if he's still in concussion protocol as the conversation was going, then he would probably still have some symptoms remaining into the Monday setup. And
comment on that if he was still having symptoms today. Feels like if Kev can get his boy out there, if he can get Gabriel out there, he'll do it. I don't think it matters. If he's ready to play after
the game. Yeah.
If he's ready to play Thursday, Friday, he's out of protocol. Sorry, Shedeur.
So the big talking point is like Shedeur not getting any reps with the first team at all. And this is something that caught a lot of career backups. Like it's kind of funny. I'll see like Chase Daniels on, YouTube, and it's like, man, you get done as a backup quarterback. I guess like most of them retire to you, like some of them retired to YouTube. It's kind of funny watching them like
They've
them
done
take
well.
their opinion. Then there's like the Luke McCown who kind of has a comment on everything that goes on with backup quarterbacks. And there's some good ones. Wayne Hoyer was a quarterback that started some. It was a backup for some. He had comments about it. Kurt Warner obviously jumps in a lot on Twitter and has his opinion on it. I mean, most of them echoing that, like, hey, the backup just doesn't get many reps. That was their point in general. And then Kevin assessed it today because I'm reading this as I'm looking to the right. Browns coach Kevin Stefanski was asked about reps for starting and backup quarterbacks and what he's seen in his time in the NFL, Minnesota, Cleveland. He said, the starter gets the vast majority, obviously, if not the entire majority. I will say this. We trust our players. Shedeur's putting in great work on the field, in the meeting room. He will be better with reps, and he's getting, like any player would be, getting better, but we trust him, and he's somebody that's continued to put in work and will continue to do so. I mean, he's got like the coach stuff just down. Like, I don't even know what he's saying. He also, Shedeur's house was broken into during the game too. So
during the game, that's so
super
disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah, I said, someone said in our founders channel, does anybody know where Dylan Gabriel was in the second half? And I said, I don't know.
I don't.
Maybe he ducked out.
I didn't see him.
He ducked out. No, we're obviously kidding, but that's always a bummer. These guys who are like not home,
so ridiculous,
and people find a way to break into the spot. It's a bummer. But yeah, I mean, here's what we know: if they can start Dylan Gabriel, they're going to start him. That's what he said after the game. That's what they're going to do. As we sit here today, things kind of pointing toward Shedeur starting this weekend. Kevin also said, because he was asked about this, like, could Shedeur play so well that he parlays it into more starts if he starts this weekend? He said he would not. This is going to shock you that he said he wouldn't speculate on that exact topic because,
Amazing.
Kevin wouldn't speculate on anything.
That's the slightest thing I've heard him budge on Gabriel on at all. Even to leave the door open the slightest bit and say he wouldn't speculate. That's the smallest bit I've heard him budge on this topic.
So, it's turned into, and I will say, Jason Lloyd, whatever opinion you want to have on this is Sourcegate, so it's a sensitive subject around these guys, especially the Ultimate Cleveland Show or whatever it's called. These guys with like referencing sources, but he was in a recent write, I think it was recent, put out there that the Browns pretty much viewed, at least this, I want to read this verbatim. As it said, shortly after the draft, Browns coach Kevin Stefanski began informing members of the organization that this would be a redshirt year of sorts for Sanders. He wasn't expected to play at all this year unless things got ugly, which they're ugly. We can agree with that. Browns wanted him to sit and learn as much as he could. So that's really the first time. I mean, I don't know when this was reported. And I can't even comment on when Jason wrote this. I just saw it secondhand on Twitter, and I would believe it's from the Athletic article, something he's put out. Maybe he put it out last night. I don't know. It's neither here nor there. I've heard that loosely from other people, and I'm not like a fifth round pick not playing their first year. Pretty normal. Not a ton of them do, right? Especially quarterbacks and even third round
situation,
guys.
Though.
No, it's not, and we're gonna get to that. I'm just like just kind of getting at the point of like, going into this year when they had anticipated starting one of Pickett or Flacco, like that's not a crazy thing to be talking about ahead of the season with a guy that they clearly maybe had some sort of long version of a role in Cleveland. Now, as things have deteriorated, as Flacco has been moved, as Dylan has played unevenly, you would think that the plan could change. Obviously, the plan was sort of similar to Baker Mayfield's debut, where an injury had to happen to give him an opportunity. But the difference being that after the game, there wasn't a coach saying, we're going to go back to Tyrod the second after the game was over. But obviously, that game ended with a lot of emotion and Baker doing some really fun things. So I think that there's a difference in those first overall pick investment. It's not apples to apples on that comparison.
Not even close.
But, you know, I do think that there's a sentiment growing that is the Browns hate. Like, I think Cam Newton's going that route, and some others are going that route, that the Browns don't want to see Shedeur Sanders excel. They don't, not excel, but like just, they don't want to see him. They don't want to, and they're using those sort of words. Like, the Browns want to hold him down.
They don't want to see him succeed. Yeah.
I just, like, okay, understanding the obvious caveats of last night, and like any backup quarterback coming into a game, you know, we've seen guys come up off the IR or come up off the practice squad and serve as the backup. It's not, what happened to Shedeur is not unheard of. Getting thrown into a game without much starter rep scenario stuff, it's not unheard of. So
without any reps with the ones ever,
I would imagine that there have been.
Heard that.
You've never, like, the NFL has never had a backup quarterback come up in a scenario where they've been around the team a short period of time, like Baker Mayfield starting. I'm just saying, like, there are situations in the league. What's that?
In the NFL, like a player that's never, like, on any team, been in a game before, in a real game, and never taken any reps with anyone's anywhere before being thrown into an NFL game. I can't think of another example.
I don't think we're going to be able to pull one out of our hats right this second. I am positive it's happened somewhere before. There's just no way that a quarterback that's the third guy, a second guy gets hurt or something happens, he's thrown up to the active roster. It's definitely happened. I don't have an example. That's not really the point. The point is, like, did last night move you as somebody, and I'm not, this is nothing any one way or the other, how do you feel coming off of last night as somebody who's wanted to see Shedeur?
I mean, it was disappointing. But I mean, it didn't really, I guess, like, yeah, the same stuff that we were worried about was there for sure. The drifting, I haven't really gotten a chance to look at it at the level you have probably. But he didn't see some things that were right there, like Njoku on the one play where he's coming across on the shallow, looks like a pretty obvious throw to make, and he just can't pull the trigger. But that's the same things we've been talking about with Gabriel for like 6 weeks. So, yeah, I thought it was really bad, but I don't know what we really could have expected in that situation otherwise. There were a couple good moments where I thought he threw balls and at least attempted to throw the ball down the field. And we, more than we have seen, like, I thought the ball to Gage Larvadin was a good ball, in the end zone. It got knocked out because the defender's hand was in between his hands or whatever. At the end of the game, I thought the throw to Fannin over the middle was maybe the longest pass the Browns have thrown all year successfully. Yep.
No, I mean, they've hit some 20-yard explosives.
Yeah, that
they
was
went to Judy last week. That was 25. They've hit some of those. It was a good ball. It was a great throw. It was a nice ball.
No, I'm serious. I think that was the longest pass of the year. I heard somebody say it.
I'd have to fact check that. I mean, at minimum, there was a yard away from the same as the Judy ball last week, or nice ball up the seam in the first half to Tillman.
Yeah, those were good. That was good stuff from yeah.
It was a good, really good throw up the on that deep dig. They kind of learned from it earlier. He came in the first, I think it was the first play, maybe the second play. First play, it might have been a little sprint out throw. Hit Njoku on that, and they had Fannin. Because the Ravens wanted to really cheat forward because they're like, let's take away all of his easy throws. Yeah. Then they got Roquan on that later. No, I'm with you. I wrote on it this morning. There's so much nuance to that performance because of all of the obvious caveats. Like, was he good? No. Right? No. Right?
He wasn't.
The ball to Larvadin was fine. Also, they blitzed the slot, wide open slot, speed out. No one there on 3rd and 5. Like, it would have been a 15-yard gain, and it's just like he'll learn from it. I hope. The question is, like, he seems to play with a slow tempo, and I think this is probably something that drives them nuts. His drop is slow, and then it doesn't feel like, I don't know, man. His drop is slow, and like
it's very slow.
And I don't know if this is again like contributed to Big 12 defenses, spread out fields, a lot of time deep. Obviously the Colorado offensive line wasn't very good, but like you get to deep drops and then you can kind of create back there and do some of that. The NFL, you can't do that.
No.
And he had some moment. I think what I would say is, as somebody who's been around quarterbacks a long time, I understand things that drive coaches crazy. And I do think there's some of that in his game right now, while also recognizing he can make throws that Dylan cannot make. Like there's just specific throws he can make Dylan can't make. I think some of the larger fundamental pieces of position Dylan has a better grasp for, even though the accuracy is nowhere near where it needs to be. Obviously, the downfield throwing leaves a lot to be desired. I just from like, what does this guy do to sort of facilitate us offensively? I understand the appeal to their desire to play Dylan. I certainly think Dylan has a lower ceiling. I certainly think he's not as physically gifted. Even some of Shedeur's scramble stuff was better. I just wonder, like, the internal clock that they're probably the most frustrated with him is like, you gotta speed it up, man. Like this is not wide hash mark college football with wide splits, 5 wide, 3x1. You got to tempo it up and you got to throw some anticipation more often. And I don't know. I'm at the point where like I still think it behooves them no matter what to play Shedeur at some point through the end of the year, because you don't care about winning. You're clearly in the spot that you're not playing with the best decisions to win all the time. So play him and sort of see anything you can get. At that point, I think it makes sense. Just play him to see what you can get from his performances, or what you can learn, I guess, right? Because if you think there's nothing there, maybe somebody takes him in the offseason from you for a late pick, or maybe they don't know. But I'm like, you and I are in agreement. I think it's nightmare fuel to think he's back as the backup to like Fernando Mendoza.
Please no.
It's awful. So spend time in some way, shape, or form through the end of the year figuring out, is he a train wreck or is there a light at the end of the tunnel for him? Because Dylan's baseline, as of right now, is a spot starter at best, a backup at best. And I'm being friendly on that. So like, I just am to the point.
One thing, if he was like lighting it up, you know what I mean? Or
100%.
Or even if he was making strides, Jake, even if it was like he was getting better on a week-to-week basis, and you're like, wow, Dylan's getting better every week. I just don't see that. Maybe I'm missing it, but it doesn't appear that he's getting better.
Obviously Tommy Reese said what he said the other day about like he's grading out well for us. I mean, okay, well, what grading scale are you using? Are you using Scantrons? Like what way is he grading out? Because I'm not seeing it, brother. But I just think at this point, I understand the desire to give Dylan opportunity still, but I also think you put yourselves in this bed of taking 2 guys. So if you guys were all against it, maybe they're sitting in the draft room and those faces, those scowls those 2 were making, because maybe they had to do this. Jimmy wanted it done. He sent a memo. His little runner, Aaron boy, shuffled over a piece of paper to him. I don't know. But it makes no sense to draft 2 quarterbacks to see if there's anything there before taking a guy at the top of the next draft. It makes no sense to me. None. 0. -%. So you got to play him more. Keeping him on the bench does nothing for solving your future with him. And especially, like I said, what's the worst case scenario? You burned a 5th-round pick on a player who stinks and cost you games the rest of the year? You're trying to lose anyways.
If he doesn't play. If he doesn't play, if you redshirt him like that's because you don't think he's ready or whatever reason that people want to come up with, that they you know what I mean? Whatever reason it is, ultimately, that they don't want him to see the field. What good does that do you in the offseason? What, you're going to bring him back next year then and bring him along slowly behind some starter? That's the most ludicrous idea I've ever heard. If he's not your starter, he shouldn't be here, because it's a massive distraction for everybody involved.
I cannot imagine spending high premium on whoever, Dante Moore, Mendoza, Simpson, Sellers, and having a hive of people who still believe in Shedeur. You took the whole year off for him, didn't play him, and they're like, you have a first round pick in this guy. Why are you waiting? What good would that do? Like,
None.
that's why I continue to think, and people will maybe still get mad at me and have whatever opinion you want to have. But if you are of the belief that Jimmy Haslam is not meddling, I think you're living in the fantasy world of all fantasy worlds here. And the selection made such little sense to me. And if the selection, okay, there's two things to say about it. I think Jimmy had a hand in that selection. Get it done kind of motto. And if you want to say, Jake, you're an idiot, no way, man. Andrew Berry traded up, went up and got him. Brad, are you trying to, like, your idea is to redshirt him and maybe take a team next offseason who didn't see him play for an entire year, looked at your quarterback situation, which is the worst in the league, and said, we don't even want to play this kid at all. And then you're gonna flip him the next offseason, but you're willing to try to do the long play on the asset.
Yeah, we're gonna hide him.
You are then subjecting your fans and your team to the noise that comes with that young man, who I don't blame him for. It's just fault. The reality of the situation. And if you are like okay with doing that to chase the high upside of what maybe you get a 6th round at best pick because after you redshirted him, I can't fathom the idiocracy that would be involved in that. That's where I'm at right now. I feel the same the day that the draft happened. And those guys can say whatever they want about, that's a moment in time in the draft room. No, man, I don't buy that for here's why I don't buy that. The Browns treat their people, their fans, the analysts like we're stupid. They do. Mm-hmm. They did an entire YouTube show on man under center for the worst quarterback room the NFL has maybe ever seen. They did a whole documentary on it. And then, like, today, which is talked about on our founders channel, this is an organization that thought it was a good idea to be sponsored by Dude Wipes, is like, if you told a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you can pick any sponsor. Shout out to Seth, our graphic designer, who's had this comment. If you could go to a Steelers fan and say you could pick any sponsor for the Browns, pick one, they'd pick them as a joke to make fun of them.
Dude Wipes.
This is the leadership that they have.
Yep.
And it's like the idea that an analytically driven front office trying to build an offense, missing so many things, would think it's a good idea to then bring in the circus that is Shedeur Sanders. No offense to him, being clear, but we're living in the circus, to be a red shirt quarterback for a year. Get out of here, dude. Just get out of here with that stuff. Like, that is so preposterous on every level. And it would just be the worst sign of, like, understanding team building. In a long list, Brad, in the last 6 years of failed team building experiments, somehow that would be at the top of the list for me.
Yeah, I mean, Jake, if we could go back in time and just not take him all together to avoid all of what the rhetoric and everything that has gone on in this season, I would do it.
100 out of 100 times, maybe even 150 out of 100 times. I can't emphasize it enough.
And I feel bad saying that for the kid, because I want to see the kid play at this point, but this is the situation we're in.
Yeah.
We're on a bad team where the guy that's playing is bad. I just am willing to see something else at this point. But if you didn't have any desire to see him play at all, then why did we do this? Why put everybody through this pain and make everybody in the world, it's a national topic every day,
nonstop,
Jake,
just getting picked on and made fun of,
and coming down on Kevin Stefanski as a racist and this and that, and he wants him to fail, and their Browns are holding him down, and it's just like, once again, not his fault at all, but the narrative that comes with this is insane.
It is just like, doesn't it feel like a recovering addict from the Johnny Manziel high, trying to do it again, can't help himself? That's what it feels like. And I whatever, man. I just won't be told differently on it. I feel like the way that room looked, I can't get past it. And the way their actions have corresponded with that feels in line. So that's just how I will not. be able to come off of it, Brad.
Yeah, I just don't. The whole thing baffles me. I told you before the show. I know we disagree on this, but feels negligent to me to say this kid has never taken a snap with the ones and he gets put in the game. And I know all these backups came out and said that, but it's like, how is that possible? I mean, I don't know how that's possible at this point in the season. I guess it makes sense, but
No,
after
it
you
feels
move
like
off
when you
of
don't care,
Flacco,
when you don't
like,
care about his results, like you don't,
but
they're
that's
not
what I'm saying.
invested.
Maybe these the conspiracy theorists, Jake, are being proven correct here in real time.
I mean, if I'm sitting here and I'm being asked, do the Browns care about Shedeur Sanders as a long-term player on the
No.
roster? No. I don't think these guys are rocket scientists by saying this. The funniest part of it is when they say the Browns are doing this to him.
Right.
Brother, if the Browns didn't draft him, I'm not sure you can say, oh, Philly might have taken him. That, okay, he was going to be a practice squad guy for somebody somewhere. Maybe that's it. There's like, you can live in a fantasy world where the Browns pass on him and maybe some team in the 6th or 7th takes him after the fact. And like, I know there was some buzz that Philly was going to do it. I don't know, man. You're just, it's conjecture at that point. It's just like, I think he would have been drafted. The circus is insane.
Here's the question, though. That, to me, that's why he fell, though, is that teams realized the circus was insane and they didn't want to deal with it.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. There's no doubt. And the Browns are now the ones that are the punching bags for screwing him over here, even though they were the only team
They were the
that
team
showed an
okay.
eagerness to draft him. So funny how that goes. But this is the time we live in because of the situation around the Browns quarterback situation. I, again, want to see him play. Want nothing more than for him to be the next guy. Would love
get
it.
Some reps, have a fair shot. If he's terrible, as bad as he was the other night again, which probably will be the case because, a lot of the habits showed up right away. There wasn't a ton of promise there, but, what I'm watching with Dillon Gabriel is not, it feels like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
So I'm open to anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I think there'd be people that say the second half was the same teeth pulling, but it was a different plier. It was a different type of tooth removal,
Sure.
Like that's what I'm saying. It was a different
week to prepare.
You know what I mean? It was a different type of extraction. I'm with you. The Dillon stuff it's hard to characterize how weird experiencing Dillon Gabriel play is. Like, he'll make some good choices, but he'll miss in such a way that his misses make you feel more helpless than some other quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to describe, and it's probably tied to the stature more than anything else. But like, his way of like playing and the way that he misses on some throws is so, you feel it's hard to
risk
put it in
averse
words.
that he misses like a few yards away from the receiver every time, like to the side away from the defender, like just in case my receiver makes a miraculous catch or go gadget 8 arms and grabs this ball. Otherwise, it's going to go out of bounds and nobody's going to touch it. Like the out to Fannin last night, right? Like, you could have put that on his hands. He gets a first down, but instead it's just not even close, right? Even the announcers,
so the misses are so confounding about
inaccurate ball.
Yeah, man.
On a pass that, like, just a regular Joe quarterback should be able to get close to the receiver.
Which is something I was very hard on Dorian Thompson-Robinson about, which is like, you've got to hit more routine NFL style throws. Like, you can't survive in this role. And Dillon has been just as bad with those. So, and obviously
dirting the balls at guys' feet and stuff. Like,
yeah, no doubt. And then, the inaccuracies continued into the second half too. And they just need, I don't think they're going to get it this year. The quarterback of the future of the Browns is not on this roster. And if you're a believer in Shedeur that he's going to do something somewhere special, more power to you. I hope he gets the opportunity. I really do. I mean, the Browns are going to probably start. My gut is they're going to start him this week. It's going to be a chance.
I hope so.
And we'll kind of have some discussion around it. But
draw some real parallels, then
For sure.
I
For sure.
I think at least giving him a week to prepare is, maybe you can put a game plan in that fits him a little better. That my biggest concern coming away from just watching him, Jake, was like the thing I asked you was like, why is he dropping? Why is his drop so slow?
And he'll do these very straight drops where his hips
And
are
his
wide
hips are
open.
wide
Yeah.
open.
I
He's
think
not
that's a
ready
part
to
of it, Brad.
throw.
It's a part of what drives them crazy internally, I think. Some of that stuff
Yeah.
is sloppy. And you can live with it if the results are good, right? But
But like,
listen, have a results game this weekend. If you play and he starts, have a results game and we can
Yeah.
have banter on it. But it wasn't encouraging enough to move us off anything one way to the good. I think
Correct.
people who don't like Shedeur are very ready to be like, done with him. This is
Yeah.
awful. Can't believe it. The advanced data was really rough, but I don't think it's fair to make sweeping conclusions off of a half being thrown in where he probably went into halftime and didn't even think anything of it. And then all of a sudden at halftime, it's like, oh, Dylan's experiencing some issues. Let's get you with the first team and let's go. So it's just not a fair world to live in. It's not a fair world to live in. And we'll get hopefully a chance.
Imagine the speed. Like I've never been played in an NFL game except for the preseason. Imagine the speed at which like Kyle Hamilton on that one blitz the first time he was. Imagine the speed at which like the game all of a sudden is moving as you see Kyle Hamilton coming off the edge, untouched at you. Like, welcome to the NFL. Like, holy crap, dude. But to your point, there were throws later on that you would have hoped that he would have like he has the arm to throw that speed out to. It was a to Njoku, right?
Mm-hmm. I think I'd have to go rewatch it again.
I'm pretty sure it was.
The thing I'm the most concerned with, Brad,
crosser. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that his style of play can be effective if he's protected. In the Browns against 4-man rushes, don't protect well. So you need to constantly be tempo, throw it, get it out. These guys aren't, and especially if the two tackles are beat up or at minimum or not playing this week, it's like, you gotta speed this thing up, man. And
he seemed
that's
very willing to just
problem.
stand in the pocket last night a few times where you're like, let it go, kid. You got to let it go.
Yeah. Listen, let's hope he gets a chance this weekend. It would make for entertaining TV again. And we could use that right now, right? We could use that in a very real way. So we'll be dialed in. We don't have anything coming out today, Tuesday, as you're listening to this. There's nothing in Berea. The bigger updates will come out Wednesday when we record for your, Thursday show. So tomorrow I'll probably do a little more tape review and thoughts, bigger, broader thoughts on the game. So having spent on time with both sides of the ball. So keep your eye out for that. And we'll just continue to wait and see, continue to guess about how they feel about these guys and play the game that it feels like we've been playing all season, which is what we're forced to do here because their actions are so confusing. And that sucks for you as fans. And it's really hard for us to do as analysts, but hopefully we're not boring you to death with some of these, but they're just like topics that are confusing for us. So we're trying to talk through how it all adds up. But yeah, more on the insights tomorrow. Keep your eye for that. Brad's opening drive. Check that out as it's going to highlight some of Miles' performance, which was, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
And
football
Carson
play
as well.
Yeah, and Carson, and I did put up some film with Carson's on a secondary to Mason stuff just to highlight, again how well he is playing. Probably the most hit the ground running rookie since Denzel Ward for the Browns. I mean, JOK was there too, so that's unfair. JOK was really good quickly. But yeah, man.
The article is on the idea that they are both odds-on favorites. We said minus 110, Jake.
Yeah.
It's minus 230 for Schlesinger and minus 200 for Miles.
Stay healthy, man. They're going to get a lot of good opportunities against that Raiders offense next week. That's for sure. And they got the Titans lingering too. Like Miles has a chance to break the sack record here. It'd be kind of cool if nothing else this season to watch him break the sack record. There's going to be chances.
It's wild
that much
to have basically what the article is about is the fact that they're able to do that on a losing team, and can they get the votes? So
I hope they do. We're going to be here to cover it. Appreciate you guys stopping by today. As we always say, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. We appreciate banter on there and your support. Come to the website to enhance your total experience with Browns Film Breakdown. You will not be disappointed. And make sure also to follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. And then we are going to be rolling out in the next week or so some Black Friday deals on a gift for your loved one, the subscription for the next year. I think it'll be really cool for the Browns fan in your life. So think about that. Again, very much appreciate all of you for stopping by and listening to today's show. And as we always say, go Browns.